Welcome back to the Comfy Chairs, a podcast from 123 Limited. This is your host, Kate, and today's episode is a comfyHQ installment where we explore your real-life leadership questions with practical answers and a dose of reflection. In this episode, we'll explore what it means to lead with clarity, how you manage your time, how you shape your life around what matters, and how you advocate for yourself without guilt. It all starts with one thing: knowing yourself. What are the best practices for time management as a leader? I love when this happens. I recently presented a session on productivity and effectiveness, and I've been building some online learning resources too. So I've got a lot of thoughts rattling around in my brain on this topic. Let's start with 2 mindset shifts that will set you up for success, no matter what tools or systems you prefer. The first, you have permission to use the system that works for you. Leadership requires self-awareness, and that includes how you manage your time. I know, for instance, that I need to take handwritten notes. If I don't write something down, it's like it never happened. I also love the satisfaction of crossing things off a to-do list. That self-knowledge helps me stay organized and effective. Because here's the truth, your results matter more than your method. Don't get distracted by the shiny object of perfect organization. Being productive isn't about looking put together. It's about making progress on what matters. And that brings us to the second of these success mindsets. Time and priorities must stay connected. Time is a limited resource, so start with your priorities, not your calendar. This does mean you have to slow down and think critically about what really matters, what's urgent, what's important, and what can wait. Tools like the Eisenhower Matrix, which helps you sort tasks by urgency and importance, can help. So can revisiting your personal or organizational goals to ground your choices. Now, for a few best practices. A simple to-do list goes a long way. Some people keep separate lists for work and home. I prefer one list with color-coded tasks. It helps me see everything at a glance. There are all kinds of planning systems out there: Franklin Covey, Passion Planner, Erin Condren, Levenger, bullet journals, and more. They're all tools to help you manage your time and projects in one place. I use a paper planner, but in tandem with a digital calendar for scheduling. They have their perks, especially if you need access from anywhere. Some people rely entirely on digital tools like Outlook or Google Calendar to manage everything: appointments, deadlines, notes. Others block time intentionally for key tasks or use techniques like the Pomodoro method to structure deep work and breaks. Whatever tools you choose, the real secret is the combination of self-awareness and focus on your goals. When your systems work with you and your priorities stay front and center, managing your time gets a whole lot easier. What are tips or suggestions for balancing work and life? Honestly, I'm not convinced that work-life balance is a real thing. See, when we talk about balance, we imagine separate objects of comparable size or weight that, with the right adjustments, can hang in a level relationship with each other. And I think this is where we go wrong, starting with the notion that work is a separate entity. The fact is actually that work is one portion of your larger whole, your life. So, rather than trying to balance your life with one part of itself, a better model than balance could be a puzzle or a mosaic. Instead of creating symmetry, you piece together your life to make an intentional, fulfilling picture. There are a few ways to approach this, but let's look at 2 lenses that can help: time and need. In either case, you start by naming the pieces of your life. These can include work, family, friendships, health, volunteerism, faith, all of the priorities, people, and pastimes that matter to you. Then, if you use time as the lens for piecing together your life, the next step is to ask how much time does each piece require in a day, week, or even month. If there's more demand than there is time, something has to shift. What I like about this approach is that we have only so much time each day, so you are working towards a very real boundary. But it can also mean you experience frustration when you have more than 24 hours worth of stuff in your daily life. Additionally, time requirements can vary based on any number of factors. So, another approach to consider is assessing need. This involves asking yourself 2 questions. What pieces of my life need me the most right now? And what pieces of my life serve me the most right now? These questions help you adjust as life changes. If, for example, you have young children and your priority is to ensure you have saved enough money for their college education by the time they enter high school, then work or other money-making pieces of your life will be a prominent element in your mosaic. If being home for dinner and bedtime every night is what you and your family need most, then work may not be as big for the time being. Or say you have an aging parent who needs a lot of support right now. Finding the right fit to meet this need could mean you have to step away from volunteer activities. I think this is another reason that trying to achieve balance doesn't help us. Life isn't a set it and forget it situation. Whether you're looking through the lens of time, need, or something else entirely, it's an ongoing, dynamic effort that involves knowing yourself, your capacity, and current priorities. That's the ultimate suggestion I have here. Know yourself so well that the decisions about how you spend your time and energy come naturally. This is how you make your life look and feel like your very own beautiful mosaic. How can I advocate for myself without coming off as self-serving? I chose this question to round out today's episode because, like the others, it's rooted in a familiar leadership quality, self-awareness. All good leadership begins with knowing yourself, your values, your needs, your priorities, and that includes leading yourself. And just as effective leaders communicate with care and clarity, you owe yourself that same clarity. As Brene Brown says, clear is kind. Advocating for yourself is one way to practice that kindness. Now, self-advocacy does take courage, but it also takes a clear understanding of the difference between advocating and demanding. Advocacy is giving voice to a need, not a want or a whim. When you're honest with yourself and use both emotion and logic to assess what you truly need, you create a strong foundation to speak from. Here's another helpful reframe. Advocacy is an act of service. When you advocate for yourself, you are serving yourself. When done well, it serves your well-being, your leadership, and your ability to contribute. This is why awareness and clarity are so important. They ensure your advocacy serves the right and real needs you have. And that's what will protect you from being selfish or making self-serving decisions under the guise of self-care. So, how do you do it? What do you say? Like any self-respecting organizational development professional, I'm tempted to tell you, it depends. It does depend, and you know that you'll have to adapt and navigate your unique circumstances and company politics. That's a given, but there are a few principles to guide you. First, know the protocol. If your organization has a process for making requests, follow it. Using back channels or doing a runaround will call your motives into question. Instead, take the opportunity to build trust by following established processes. Second, be clear about what you need and what you don't. Make it easy for others to understand your ask by distinguishing between what you need and anything else. For example, when requesting a change to scheduled time off, explain that you're not asking for more time, just different dates. Third, be okay with hearing no. As a leader, you know that you can't meet every employee's needs, and this is going to be true for you, too. Sometimes you will advocate for yourself and be told no. If you're not prepared for that, you run the risk of becoming resentful and disconnected. That will wreak havoc on your own experience and your ability to lead. Advocating for yourself isn't about being demanding. It's about being honest. It's about choosing clarity over resentment, courage over silence, and service over self-sacrifice. And that's leadership. Here's what I hope you'll take from this episode today. Leadership isn't just about driving results. It's about living with alignment. Whether you're choosing how to spend your time, how to shape your days, or how to ask for what you need, it all comes down to self-awareness. Know yourself well enough to trust your voice and to use it. If you've got a leadership question you'd like me to explore on a future comfyHQ episode, please reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn or at 123ltd.com. Next week, we'll be back with a conversation about trust to celebrate our 2nd anniversary in the comfy chairs. Thanks for listening.